So I'm getting ready to replace these old light sockets with recessed lights in preparation for putting a ceiling in this basement. So we have the Amoco 6-inch. You can get them in 3, 5, 6, or 8-inch lights, I believe. And these lights are my favorite ones I've ever installed. Super thin. They're actually so thin that they can get installed directly under a stud. So it doesn't matter where your lights go in your ceiling, they can get installed directly under a stud. They have the simplest ever wiring. They come two in a box like this. There's 2 wafers and 2 junction boxes. The pigtail already attached. Basically, you just flip open this door where it says Amoco. Has a pack of 3 push connectors, which is the simplest way to connect these lights. It is braided wire or multi-strand wire. It is soldered on the end though, so that you can just push it directly into the push connector without the braid fraying or pushing apart. Then you have your hot and your neutral. And I'll try to give you a little bit of a example of how to change these lights out. First, you take your electrical tester, make sure your wires no juice. If it's green, you're good to work on it. I don't know why it beeps sometimes and flashes red. So it's all green. There's no current at this light. I flipped the breaker. There better wouldn't be current. So we'll just remove this old box, snip that wire off, strip a little bit of the end, plug it into our push connectors in our junction box. We'll knock out one of these knockouts here so we can run the wire in the side. And then we'll push it into our push connector and basically leave this dangle. We'll be installing the ceiling tomorrow, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're finished. Okay, at this point I don't own a wearable camera, so I'm having to stop every now and then and show you. I was actually able to take the light fixture, you can see over there. I was actually able to take the light fixture apart, and so I didn't have to strip the wire back any further. This is damaged here. I'll put a little electrical tape around that so it doesn't catch the insulation on fire. These push connectors, you can see it's pushed all the way in like it should be, all the way up against. Don't overstrip it as well. There should be no exposed copper here. On the ground wire, obviously it doesn't matter because the whole thing is exposed. That's also pushed all the way in. Your neutral also pushed all the way in. Now all that's left to do is, sorry, I almost sneezed. The only thing left to do is attach these, and then I'll show you how to hook up the actual light itself, but we're ready to go here in a second. All right, again, I have to keep pausing, but I have, you can see both neutrals hooked up, pushed all the way in, both hots pushed all the way in. Back there you can see both grounds pushed all the way in. And if you don't trust these push connectors, if you think they're a fire hazard, they do come with the thing, so I just use them. If you are worried about them, because some people say they're a fire hazard, and I guess they can be if they don't fit right, or if they don't if you don't use them with the proper gauge of wire. But these push connectors came with this wire already attached, obviously not the wire coming from the power source, but these wires that run back into your junction box here. These push connectors came specifically for that, so they should not be a fire hazard. But if you don't trust them, you can also use wire ties, wire nuts. They're the same function. They serve the same function. It's just a different application. So now all we got to do, I need to go get one of these lights here. Grab this guy, and you can see our junction box has a little pigtail coming out with a little attachment there, and that goes into here. Let's get it to focus. These 3 little prongs in there. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little flat spot at the bottom of this circle. There's also a little flat spot there on the side of this thing, right below the single pole to the left there. That's to make sure everything lines up properly. So basically, I'll just plug this together and then show you what's what. Okay, it's that simple. And every light I've ever installed, whether it's this brand or another, has this little threaded collar that just slides down over here and threads on to keep these two things from pulling apart once you're putting them up in the ceiling. And we'll have to take this apart. This ceiling is actually getting roofing metal on it, and that's going to be the ceiling. The children that play down here, and it gets kind of violent, throwing balls and stuff. Anyway, yeah, so they wanted something sturdier than drywall on the ceiling, so we're gonna put white roofing metal here. So we're gonna have to take this wafer part off when we hang the lights, and we're gonna have to push this junction box up in the ceiling when we're hanging it, and then we can reattach these tomorrow. But for now, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna go flip the breaker, make sure everything works, make sure we got a functioning light there and nothing burns down. The dogs. All right, it was 17 and 19. Flip that on. Oh my goodness, we got light. We have got light. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to go. I actually don't think I'm replacing the one there by the bottom of the stairs. I think that one is gonna stay a light bulb. Anyway, just repeat that process and you have functioning recessed lights. All right, I'm on my third light here. I got that one working. I got that one in the corner working over there. Can't see it, it's hanging the other way, but this one here is working. What I like about these lights, they have an adjustable up here. They have an adjustable slider there to adjust the color and brightness of the light. You can go from a very yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to a bright white light. That's the way I'm gonna keep it now. They're all set the same, and we will keep it like that because that's what gives you the most light. So the electrical in this job went far beyond my ability. I'll just briefly summarize. After I got all the lights wired up, they were all working, but when I flipped the switch to turn the lights off to leave the job for the day, I realized the switch was doing nothing. Somehow the lights were getting power and it was bypassing the switch, so the switch wasn't doing anything. So I tried to figure it out as well as I could, and I could not figure it out. So I called the homeowner's brother, who works for an electrician, and he told me that he would come and figure it out. So he came and figured out the electrical stuff, and then I got the metal ceiling installed. But I know how to do finish electric basically, but when it comes to roughing or tracing wires, figuring out continuity or, the transfer of power from one wire to another, because there was hots involved, there was neutrals, there was travelers. It wasn't as straightforward as what I showed you in the beginning of the video. So we got everything figured out and the customer was happy with the job.